Howdy peeps, and welcome back to yet another part of the SU76 group build series. I keep wanting to say group build, I don't know why. First things first, I hope the sound of the airbrush and the compressor wasn't too much or too overpowering in the previous video. I did what I could to keep the volumes of those down, but unfortunately there's not a lot you can do when your compressor does sound like a Model T Ford or a small tractor. Anyway, where do we get to? Well, we got it painted basically, and the next thing to do is going to be the decals. Now this is something of a hot topic at the moment in general around the modelling community online, as to whether you need to do a gloss coat or you don't. Let's put this extra light on, that'll help. There we go. Now, I'm not going to put a gloss coat on. However, what I will do is where the decals are going, just to make sure the paint is as smooth as can be, I'll get my little buffer, blow some of the dust off. From yesterday I was doing quite a lot of sanding and grinding and yeah, having fun adjusting a Formula 1 car. We'll literally just give it a light rub. We're not looking to sand through the paint here, we're just taking off any slight roughness just to smooth it down a little. Make sure we've got a nice flat surface, or smooth surface. Flat could be a confusing term. And we will check, I'll just do it where all the decals go. I'm doing this cack-handed, sorry, wrong way round, left-handed. I believe cack-handed is now a derogatory term. Excuse my stomach rumbling again. I had a little too much cabbage yesterday, and there may be wind later. So yeah, we have another couple go on here. So again, not much of a clean up, or as the paint has gone down fairly smooth, because we did use a good primer and a good paint. You might be able to pick up a slight sheen difference where I've given it a little buff. Yeah, maybe not, it might show up, but that just gets us to the point where we're not ensuring we don't get silvering, but it's just going to help reduce any that we might get. As these are all going on flat surfaces, I'm not expecting it to be a problem. Typical Tamiya decals, a little piece of tracing paper, keep those. Always interesting or useful to have kicking about, you never know when you might need it. Right, so let's have a look, see which decals we need and where they're going to hide. Well, we're not going to need the A514 because we've got the back door open. So we'll need decal number 4, 2 number 5s and a number 7. As we're going to do the top one, has a more interesting scheme decal wise. So we'll pop that out of the way. Elbow the burker. So I've got all my current builds are actually on the right, but just over there, and I tend to elbow them occasionally. So it was 2 number 5s, a number 4 and a number 7. So we want both of those. So these look quite shiny. Oh, excuse me. The throat and, well, I say my hay fever has been giving me jip since yesterday. Yesterday being the day when the big storm ran through most of Ireland and up the western coast of the UK, turning the sky a nice interesting shade of orange for the rest of us, with this Saharan dust cloud, and with it being unseasonably warm, me having the windows and doors and stuff open, I breathed a lot of it in and it's pretty much fired off my hay fever. So yeah, not the most pleasant of experiences, but never mind. I've got the right decals there. No, I haven't. Got an extra one of those I don't need. Add that back in the box. So it's two of them and it was that one. Cut out the wrong decal, you see. I'm doing good at not paying attention to the instructions. As someone pointed out, so this shows the time delay. Pardon me. As someone pointed out yesterday when I put the track assembly video on, I'd actually put the tracks onto the jig the wrong way round, so which is why they don't fit very well at the moment, but you know, we can adjust that. So we're going to take our decals, dunk them in our mug of decal water, which is room temperature, or slightly above because it sits in the windowsill most of the time, and we'll just pop them on the mat. To soak. And while we're waiting on those to soak well, what we can do is, there were, I believe, 2 tyres I hadn't painted yet. Yep. We shall grab the wheels I've not painted. As I said, I wouldn't do them all off camera. I left 2 to do on camera. I use, don't speak while you're shaking the pot, you sound even weirder than usual. I use what is an old Revel Aqua tar black usually. As you can see, the pot's fairly empty. I will just zoom in a little for this. Alrighty ho. And we'll grab just a size 0 brush, pop the paint out of the way. And again, as I said in the previous video, some people prefer to use the masks. Whale song from my stomach. I use the old circle template mask. I actually prefer painting the tyres by hand. Generally doesn't take me that much longer, and other than ending up with the occasional slight black stripe on my finger, I find it usually fairly simple, although I'm doing it at a bit of a strange angle and considerably further away from myself than I normally would. Yeah, we just run around the outside edge. It may just be me making excuses for myself, but to me, I think that by brush painting the tyre and doing it fairly crudely, not worrying about thin coats and perfect coats, you get a little more texture into the tyre, so to me it looks a little more realistic. Because let's face it, tank tyres do tend to get chewed up fairly rapidly. I would normally add a little bit of thinner to this paint because it is quite thick and gloopy, but you know, just for a couple of tyres we can live without. So that's one done, and the other one, and that will be all of them done. Yay! And another step closer to completion. Well, I say completion, I'm actually getting the model together in one piece. Although, as I have, it would appear, built the tracks back to front and upside down. That might be interesting, trying to get those to fit. We will have to see. As I say, pays dividends to pay attention to the instructions. But as a typical bloke, it's not something I do too often. And it usually comes back to bite me quite hard in the butt. But hey ho, it's all fun. Right, here we go. So that is how I paint tyres. And I'll just wash my brush out, reach across and wipe it off on my random piece of kitchen towel on the bench. Pop the lid back on the paint. Shake the entire bench about while I do it, and I'll zoom me back out a little just so I can get the decaling process. Yeah, something like that. Right, so our decals have been wetted and soaked for long enough. Our hull is, or our paint is ready for them. So now what I do is a layer of the, what is the first one? Micro set, which I have in the water pens. And I just apply a little, or quite a bit actually, where I'm going to put the decal, or in this case decals. Find a clean-ish cocktail stick, that one will do. Pick up the decal with my tweezers. Pop the backing onto the model and then slide the decal off. So you do get some water from the backing paper on there. And that's going to try and get it so it doesn't shine too much. And we just work the decal roughly into position. Not quite level. That's a bit better. And then I'll reach around the camera again. Try not to joggle it. There we go. Then using a cocktail stick, cotton wool bud, just roll it across the decal to get any excess liquid or air from out underneath it. And we want one of the, one of those to go there. Will this actually sit? Yeah. So next we grab one of these. Same thing. Again, bash the burr cut. Pop the bit of backing paper in the bin. And that actually looks straight first time-ish. As straight as I ever get anything anyway. We just do the same thing. And we move to the back, which is where the larger one goes. Add a bit more of the micro salt onto there. Or is this the set? Yeah. Micro set first, micro salt second. or the one in the blue bottle first, the one in the red bottle second. We just apply that one. And again, that one's roughly about right, that'll do. As I say, I'm not attempting to build an award-winning model or anything here, just showing the various steps and processes that I use to build something vaguely presentable. And a bit more. And we can put that one away. In my process, marked number 1. So first one I use. Yeah, see? I might not be able to remember which solution is which, but when it's written in on the pen in the right number order, it's a lot easier. And again, that one's actually, I'm on a roll here. They just keep going on straight. I don't know what's going wrong. And again, we just roll in, make sure it's nice and snugged down. Use a cotton wool to soak up the excess water off the cutting mat so I don't end up with a mess. Now, as these are all on flat surfaces, I probably won't need to go full power on the decal solution, so this is just the micro sol number 2, the red one. Just a good splurge, splatter that on there. If by the time that's dried they haven't sunk down as well as we want, we can either give them another coat of that or a coat of number 3, which is the Walther's Solver set. Definitely better to do it like that because of the size bottle it comes in, and the size of the brush that comes in the bottle is huge. So it's quite tricky to get hold of in the UK as well, Solver set. So you don't want to be spilling it if you can help it. Okay, so we've got our decals on. What's next on the list? Well, detail painting, I guess. So we shall start out with the silvery bits, the Pioneer tools, etc. We'll find a steel paint. Hopefully I've got one somewhere. That'll do. Quick shake up. A slight cough. Find an old razor blade. That will do. Actually, I'll use this one instead. No, shaky, shaky, shaky. This is just the model colour oily steel 7865. And that will probably be enough to do all the metal work on the tank. Right. So if we start out this side, we have what I'm assuming are the barrel cleaning rods. We just get a bit of water on the brush. Now, I do tend to paint tools, etc. in situ on the vehicle. I know some don't like to do it. It's obviously there's less chance of making a mistake with the paintbrush and putting paint where you don't want it. I've generally got a fairly steady hand. And anyway, a few steel coloured chips around the Pioneer tools. Things that probably get removed from the tank and put back on a fairly regular basis. Probably going to chip the paint slightly at some point. So it's not too big of a deal if you do make a minor boo-boo. You can always explain it away as weathering. Oh, there you go, there's my belly again. So again, as I say, this is probably going to be a month or so later down the line, but anyone else affected at all by the storm? I hope no one's homes got damaged or anything like that. Obviously not anywhere near the kind of level of destruction that occurred in America, Florida and Texas with the hurricanes they had, but for the UK it was a pretty nasty storm. And it's actually, believe it or not, 30 days to the exact day since we did have the hurricane in the UK in October '87. And yes, I'm old enough to remember that. Actually got sent to school that day. Went and waited by the school bus stop. The bus never showed up. So I walked myself into school. It was a couple of miles. What was I? I was about 10 at the time, I think. So yeah, walked the couple of miles across town in the howling gale, and I mean, it had died down from the night before, but it was still bloody windy and rainy and wet and cold and horrible. But yeah, I walked all the way into school only to find out school was closed. Well, didn't listen to the local radio, so didn't even know. So I then had to turn around and walk all the way home again. And then got in trouble when I got home because I wasn't at school. So it's not my fault they shut the school. I think I ended up having to go to work with my mum. Which would have been house cleaning. In other words, sat around in someone else's house bored, smegless all day. I think I'd rather have been at school, to be honest. So these kind of storms aren't the thing that we don't normally get too often in the UK. And on those rare occasions we do get them, they tend to come across from the Atlantic and on the other side of the country, so even when they do hit, don't get them so bad over here most of the time. So it just got a bit windy yesterday for me, and then the sky all went orange, which is kind of weird, I have to say. But so we're coming up to the time of year where over this side of the country we get the weather coming across from Siberia, so if the wind and the weather comes from that direction we can get hit pretty hard. And although I may be quite away from the coast, there's not exactly a lot between me and the coast. Anyone who knows Norfolk will know how flat it is. I think the highest point is something like 113 feet above sea level, and there are large portions of the county that are actually below sea level. So if it wasn't for all the drains and pumping stations, probably a good portion of Norfolk would be underwater. Right, so the last metal-y bit to paint is going to be the tow rope, which the shackles will probably, or the ends will be probably a lot simpler than the actual rope itself, as that is string, but we shall see. Yep. Just checking how I'm actually doing this in shot. It's only dawned on me, did I zoom out? Am I in shot? Obviously we won't be leaving all the tools and the tow rope bright shiny steel colours. We'll be weathering them down a little, either making them look rusty or grimy or oily or whatever. Which is why I usually find, well, I say usually, these days I find using the oily steel gives you slightly less bright start to the proceedings. Don't slip. There we go. Oh, how are we doing on time? Oh dear, nearly there. Nearly at the half-hour mark. I reckon by the time I get the detail painting done, we'll be about there. As I say, it's just the handles on a few tools. Oh, we've got the spare track link to do as well. Right. There we are. Paint there. Just get some paint on the spare track link while I remember. It is a bit strange that I only carry one, but you know. They were renowned as being obviously small and lightweight, but having very low ground pressure. Which probably meant they didn't throw the tracks too often or wear them out too quickly. There's the thing with tanks, is the lower, or any kind of tracked vehicle, not just fighting vehicles like tanks, is the lower the ground pressure you can get, the better. It just means less likelihood of it sinking in. You can make it more manoeuvrable because it's not sinking in. Just do a bit this side. Right. There we go. Just as we get to the 30-minute mark. So, that's not too bad going at all, really. What are we looking at doing next time? Well, next time we should be finishing off with the detail painting, so it'll be the handles for the tools, painting the exhaust in rust colour, and then popping a wash onto the tracks. Then once all that's dry, maybe putting a wash on the tool handles just to, and the jack block, then giving it a gloss coat and starting off with the weathering. So for those of you that are sticking with me, thank you very much. I hope it continues to prove to be a useful series. Once this is done, I will probably be doing an aeroplane, a wingy thingy, a flappy thing. Obviously a lot of the techniques etc. will be the same, but assuming that plane people aren't watching a how to build a tank video, you know, and there'll be little different things as well, different techniques, maybe some photo etch involved, depends on the kit I use. But yeah, so other than that, I hope you enjoyed. If you did and you haven't already, please click like, subscribe, click the little bell icon if you want notifications at any time I upload something, which is usually Mondays and Fridays. And enjoy your modelling, have fun, rock on, peace out, bye.